If she tells you these 11 things, leave her immediately for your good. Victory Stoic. Gentlemen, let's cut to the chase. Words are weapons, and sometimes they're wielded with deadly precision. You might think she's just expressing herself. But the truth? Some phrases are Trojan horses, sneaking in with charm and leaving you questioning your sanity, your worth, and sometimes even your existence. Have you ever thought, did she mean it like that? Or am I overthinking? Spoiler alert, you're not overthinking. That nagging feeling, that's your gut telling you something's off. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. But it must be truth, not manipulation." The problem is, some women won't show you the truth. They'll bury it under manipulation, deflection, and carefully chosen words designed to keep you guessing. Picture this. She sweetly drops, "You're so sensitive," after stomping all over your boundaries. Or maybe it's the classic, "If you loved me, you would," leaving you twisting in knots, trying to prove your devotion. It's not just what they say, it's what they mean behind those words. Don't get me wrong, this isn't about vilifying women. It's about spotting the red flags that can derail your life, your confidence, and your peace. A Stoic man doesn't just listen, he discerns. He recognizes the hidden intent behind the words and chooses his response wisely. So if you've ever wondered, am I missing something here? Or is this normal? This is the video for you. We'll uncover 11 red flag phrases women might use, why they matter, and how to navigate them with the calm clarity of a true Stoic. Gentlemen, it's time to protect your peace and reclaim your power. Let's dive in. Number 1, you're so sensitive. The classic "you're so sensitive," delivered with a sweet smile and just enough condescension to make you question your entire emotional existence. It's like being handed a grenade with the pin already pulled. What do you even do with this? Imagine this. You're calmly explaining how something she said bothered you, and instead of addressing it, she drops this gem. Suddenly, the focus shifts from her behavior to your alleged emotional instability. Now, you're not just defending your feelings, you're defending your right to have feelings. It's genius, really. Why apologize when you can just make the other person feel ridiculous for expecting basic respect? The Stoic perspective. Let's turn to Marcus Aurelius for wisdom. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Translation: her words are the grenade, but you're holding the pin. You don't have to explode. Stoicism teaches us not to take the bait. Her dismissive comment doesn't define your emotional state. It reveals her unwillingness to address the issue. Stay calm. Address the problem at hand, and if she insists on deflecting, recognize that you're not in a conversation, you're in a circus, and you didn't sign up to be the clown. How to handle it. 1, call it out calmly. "I'm not being sensitive, I'm being clear about what I feel." Let's focus on that. 2, don't take the bait. Resist the urge to get defensive. That's exactly what this phrase is designed to provoke. 3, set a boundary. If she continually dismisses your emotions, it's time to ask yourself if this dynamic aligns with your values. Real-life humor. Next time she says, "You're so sensitive," smile and reply, "You're right, I am sensitive." To gaslighting, watch her face. Priceless. Gentlemen, remember, your emotions are valid, and recognizing disrespect isn't sensitive, it's Stoic strength in action. Number 2, men should always. The sneaky weapon of mass generalization. Men should always. Or its equally patronizing cousin, real men would. It's like the verbal equivalent of putting you in a suit 2 sizes too small and then blaming you for not looking sharp enough. Picture this. You're enjoying a rare moment of peace when she drops the bomb. Maybe it's, "Men should always pay for dinner," or "Real men would know how to fix this." Suddenly, your existence is being judged against some unwritten rule book you never even got to read. It's not about the dinner bill or the broken faucet. It's about the subtle attempt to shape you into her idea of what a man should be. And spoiler alert, that idea will keep changing faster than the trends on TikTok. The Stoic perspective. Epictetus once said, Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Stoicism doesn't tell you to rebel against societal expectations just for the sake of it, but it does demand that you remain true to your own values. You're not a blank canvas for someone else to paint their idea of masculinity on. You're the artist of your own character. When faced with these sweeping generalizations, step back and assess, is this expectation aligned with your core principles, or is it a manipulation tactic disguised as advice? How to handle it? 1. Redirect the conversation. That's interesting. Why do you think that should be the case? Let her reveal the reasoning behind her statement. It might unravel on its own. 2. Challenge respectfully. I don't believe masculinity is defined by always doing X. For me, it's about being authentic and intentional. 3. Draw a boundary. If the expectations are unreasonable or endless, it's time to have an honest conversation about compatibility. Real-life humor. If she says, real men should always pay, try responding with a playful smile. You're absolutely right. Real men also know when it's time to split dessert. Keep it light but firm, like a stoic ninja. Key takeaway. A true stoic man defines his worth by his principles, not by someone else's checklist. So the next time you hear men should always, remember the only thing you should always do is remain true to yourself. Number 3. Why are you so emotional about this? At first glance, this might seem harmless. Just a casual observation, right? But when you dig deeper, it's often a subtle attempt to dismiss your feelings. Imagine opening up about something meaningful, only to be met with, why are you making such a big deal out of it? Or, you're being too sensitive. Suddenly, your genuine concerns are reduced to a character flaw. A real-life scenario. You've had a long day at work, and you're venting about an unfair decision your boss made. Instead of support, you hear, why are you so emotional? Can't you just let it go? It's a dismissive statement that shifts the focus from the situation to you, implying that your reaction is the problem, not the issue itself. The Stoic perspective, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress emotions, but to understand them. Feeling anger, frustration, or sadness is part of the human experience. What matters is how we process and channel those emotions, not denying their existence. When someone tries to undermine your feelings, Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and grounded. Their dismissal doesn't invalidate your emotions, it only highlights their inability to empathize. How to handle it? 1. Acknowledge your feelings. Calmly say, I'm sharing this because it's important to me. I'd appreciate it if we could talk about it without dismissing how I feel. 2. Reflect and clarify. If the conversation gets heated, take a pause. I might sound emotional because this matters to me. Let's focus on the issue, not just my reaction. 3. Know when to step back. If this behavior is recurring and there's no effort to change, it may be time to reassess the relationship's emotional dynamics. A gentle, real-life example. Say you're upset because she canceled plans last minute, and her response is, why are you so emotional? It's not a big deal. Try responding with, it's not about the plans themselves. It's about feeling valued. Can we talk about that? By reframing the conversation, you shift the focus from your emotions to the underlying issue. Key takeaway. Emotions are a signal, not a weakness. A Stoic man acknowledges his feelings and communicates them with clarity and respect. If your emotions are repeatedly dismissed, it's a red flag for a lack of mutual understanding. True partnerships are built on empathy, not invalidation. Number 4, he's just a male best friend. Why it's a red flag? The classic male best friend defense. A line so overused it might as well be trademarked. While genuine platonic friendships exist, dismissing your concerns outright is a cunning way of sidestepping accountability. This phrase can be the equivalent of saying, I'll keep bending boundaries and you'll keep pretending it's fine. Example, you notice she's constantly texting her so-called male best friend, the guy who knows all your relationship ups and downs, coincidentally has no boundaries, and just happens to be the first person she calls when she's upset. When you voice your unease, she waves it off with a smug, You're overreacting. We've been friends forever. And just like that, your perfectly reasonable concern is dismissed as insecurity. Stoic insight. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason." While you can't control her friendship choices, you can choose not to ignore red flags disguised as casual dismissals. Boundaries aren't about controlling her. They're about preserving mutual respect. How to navigate. Address the elephant in the room. Calmly express your boundaries. It's not about mistrusting you, it's about respecting our relationship. This dynamic doesn't feel balanced. Assess her response. If she continues to belittle your concerns, it's less about friendship and more about her unwillingness to value your feelings. Why it matters. Dismissiveness toward valid concerns is the real issue. You're not insecure for wanting clarity. She's deflecting because boundaries disrupt her comfort. A relationship thrives on mutual understanding, not a one-sided refusal to compromise. Remember, just a friend should never come at the cost of your peace. Number 5, if you really loved me, you would... Why it's a red flag. This phrase is the emotional manipulation equivalent of holding your feelings hostage. It weaponizes love, twisting it into a bargaining chip to control your decisions. It's not love, it's coercion disguised as care. When someone frames their desires as proof of your devotion, they're testing how much you're willing to compromise your boundaries, dignity, or happiness for them. Example. Imagine this. You're planning a well-deserved weekend with your friends, something you've been looking forward to for months. She drops the bomb. If you really love me, you'd skip it and spend time with me instead. Or worse, if you love me, you wouldn't need to have guy friends. Suddenly, your reasonable choices are turned into evidence of your lack of devotion. It's the ultimate guilt trip. Stoic insight. As Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. True love doesn't require bending to someone's will. It inspires mutual growth and freedom. Being manipulated into sacrificing your values or interests isn't love, it's control. How to navigate. Reclaim your power. Respond with calm assertion. Love isn't about proving yourself through ultimatums. It's about trust and mutual understanding. Stand your ground. Avoid engaging in emotional blackmail. If she uses love as leverage, refuse to play the game. Evaluate the relationship. If this pattern persists, it's not a partnership. It's a power struggle. You deserve better. Why it matters. Relationships built on manipulation crumble under the weight of resentment. Love doesn't come with conditions or tests. A healthy partnership encourages individuality and mutual respect, not sacrifice under duress. Marcus Aurelius said it best, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Don't let her words paint your love as a weakness. True love strengthens both partners. It doesn't demand obedience. Number 6. Is it really that important for me to admit I was wrong? Why it's a red flag. This is the rhetorical equivalent of sidestepping accountability with a flourish. By questioning the importance of admitting fault, she's not just avoiding responsibility, she's flipping the blame back to you for even bringing it up. It's the art of argument deflection, and it leaves you feeling like you're the unreasonable one for valuing honesty and accountability. Example 1. You point out that she forgot to lock the door last night. Instead of acknowledging it and moving on, she smirks and says, "Well, nothing happened, right? Why make such a big deal out of it?" Example 2. You're having a discussion about finances and notice she overspent on something unnecessary. Instead of admitting it, she casually shrugs and says, "I mean, does admitting I was wrong actually change anything now?" Example 3. After she accuses you of forgetting her birthday when you didn't, she discovers her mistake but doesn't apologize. Instead, she cheerfully quips, "Well, I was only half wrong, and isn't that better than fully wrong?" Stoic insight. Epictetus said, "It's not the actions of others that trouble us, but our opinions of them." Accountability is the cornerstone of self-improvement. If someone refuses to own their mistakes, they're not just stalling progress in the relationship, they're eroding trust and creating a culture of deflection. How to navigate. Be direct but calm. Say, It's not about being right or wrong, it's about respecting each other enough to acknowledge when we mess up. Don't take the bait. Don't let her twist the issue into an argument about your reaction. Stick to the point. Accountability is important. Notice the pattern. If avoiding blame becomes her default behavior, it's time to reflect on whether this relationship fosters growth or stagnation. Why it matters. Think of a relationship as a team sport. If one person never admits they missed a play or fumbled the ball, the whole team suffers. In this case, you're the team, and a lack of accountability drags down trust, progress, and communication. A Stoic relationship thrives on mutual respect and responsibility. If admitting fault is a mountain she refuses to climb, she's not looking for a partner. She's looking for someone to clean up after her mistakes. Remember Seneca's wisdom: to err is human, but to persist in error without correction is foolish. Accountability is what separates wisdom from willful ignorance. Number 7. Sotichkwa anchogi jang jikinuve. What's so great about your hobbies? Why it's a red flag. This phrase isn't just dismissive. It's a subtle jab at your individuality and passions. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, and undermining something you love, no matter how small, hints at a lack of support. Example. Imagine spending weeks restoring an old car, something that brings you joy and relaxation. You proudly show your progress, only to hear, "Why waste time on that junk? It's not like anyone cares." Suddenly, what made you happy feels trivial in their eyes. Stoic insight. Seneca teaches us to be everywhere is to be nowhere. In this case, it means focusing on what truly matters: your passions, your growth, and your happiness, without letting someone else's dismissive words scatter your confidence. Practical approach. If this red flag emerges, it's essential to address it directly, yet calmly. You might say, "This hobby's important to me because it helps me relax and feel accomplished. I'd appreciate your support, or at least understanding why it matters to me." Remember, you don't need permission to value what you love. A partner who can't see the worth in your joy may not be the partner who sees the worth in you. Number 8. Why can't you just let it go? Why it's a red flag. At first glance, this might sound harmless, but it often reflects an avoidance of meaningful conversations. Brushing aside your concerns with this phrase shows a lack of willingness to address issues, leaving problems unresolved and tension lingering. Example. Picture this. You bring up a recurring issue. Maybe it's their tendency to cancel plans last minute. Instead of discussing it, they say, "You're still on about that? Can't you just let it go?" What you're asking for is understanding and resolution, but what you get is dismissal. Stoic insight. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Letting go should be your choice, not a forced concession when your concerns are ignored. Practical approach. When confronted with this red flag, redirect the focus back to the issue without escalating. For instance, say, "I'm bringing this up because it matters to me, and resolving it is important for us to move forward." If the pattern persists, recognize the imbalance and consider if the relationship respects your needs. A relationship rooted in mutual respect doesn't sweep issues under the rug. It tackles them together. A partner unwilling to have honest conversations isn't building with you. They're building barriers between you. Number 9. It's your fault I made this mistake. Why it's a red flag. This statement is not just a deflection, it's a full-blown refusal to take responsibility. Blaming you for their actions signals immaturity and a lack of accountability, creating a dynamic where you're always the scapegoat. Example. Imagine this. She forgets to lock the door at night, and when you address it, her response is, "If you weren't so distracted, I wouldn't have forgotten." Somehow, her mistake is now your burden. Over time, this constant deflection can leave you walking on eggshells, second-guessing yourself at every turn. Stoic insight. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Recognizing blame shifting as a toxic behavior is the first step toward overcoming its corrosive effects on your confidence and clarity. Practical approach. Stand firm in the face of blame shifting. Calmly say, I'm willing to discuss what happened, but accountability is a two-way street. I can't take responsibility for choices I didn't make. If this pattern persists, understand this. You are not their emotional punching bag. A relationship thrives on shared growth, not one-sided guilt. By holding your ground, you protect your integrity and refuse to be burdened by the weight of their refusal to grow. The Stoic path forward. Recognize that their behavior is a reflection of their internal struggles, not your shortcomings. Stay anchored in your values and remember, accountability isn't optional in a partnership. It's essential. Number 10, I don't need to explain myself to you. Why it's a red flag. This is the conversational equivalent of slamming the door in your face. It dismisses your concerns, shuts down communication, and reeks of arrogance. Relationships thrive on openness and mutual respect. This phrase signals the absence of both. Example, imagine asking a perfectly reasonable question like, hey, why were you out until 3 a.m.? And being met with, why do I owe you an explanation? Suddenly, you're cast as the overbearing interrogator while she plays the misunderstood rebel. Classic. Tragic reality. This line usually means one of two things. Either she's hiding something, or she just doesn't care enough to address your concerns. Both are red flags waving at full mast. Stoic humor. Marcus Aurelius might have chuckled at this one. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Translation? Don't stoop to their level by demanding answers they're unwilling to give. Instead, focus on their actions, or lack thereof, and let the truth reveal itself. How to respond. Smile and say, fair enough, you don't owe me an explanation. But I also don't owe you my trust without one. Then step back and observe. A person who values you will understand that clarity builds connection. One who doesn't will continue hiding behind vague deflections. The Stoic takeaway. You're not a detective, and your relationship isn't an episode of CSI. If someone refuses to communicate, they're telling you everything you need to know, just not with words. Walk away with your dignity intact. Number 11. I was just joking. You're overreacting. Why it's a red flag. This sneaky little phrase is a masterclass in gaslighting. It shifts the blame for hurt feelings onto you while excusing their behavior as harmless fun. Spoiler alert, it's not. Example, she teases you about gaining a few pounds in front of her friends. When you pull her aside later to say it bothered you, she hits you with, oh, come on, I was just joking. Don't be so sensitive. Translation? Your feelings are inconvenient, and she's not about to deal with them. Stoic perspective. Epictetus wisely said, first learn the meaning of what you say and then speak. Jokes that sting aren't jokes. They're passive-aggressive digs wrapped in faux humor. A healthy relationship doesn't thrive on cheap shots. How to handle it? Don't laugh it off. Calmly but firmly say, I know you may have meant it as a joke, but it didn't feel that way to me. This approach puts the onus back on her to consider how her words affect others. If she doubles down, it's time to reconsider if her humor is worth your peace of mind. Stoic wisdom in practice. Remember, a real partner builds you up. They don't hide behind jokes to tear you down. If her humor consistently crosses the line, it's time to draw your own and walk away. After all, life's too short for bad comedy and even worse relationships. Conclusion: protecting your peace and power. In a world where words can wound or heal, recognizing red flags isn't just a skill, it's a survival tactic. These phrases may seem small or innocent, but their implications cut deep, revealing the true intentions behind them. A man grounded in wisdom and self-respect doesn't ignore these warning signs. He confronts them with clarity, courage, and conviction. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The battle isn't just with others, it's with the standards you set for yourself. When you allow toxicity to linger, you betray your own values. When you let it go, You choose freedom over chaos. Walking away isn't weakness. It's strength in its purest form. It's the ultimate declaration that your peace, dignity, and self-respect are non-negotiable. As Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Be brave enough to demand better, strong enough to move on, and wise enough to see the difference between love and manipulation. Your call to action. Are you ready to reclaim your power? Share in the comments below. Which of these red flags have you encountered, and how did you respond? Let's build a community of strength, clarity, and mutual respect. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic. Together, let's rise above toxicity, embrace wisdom, and master the art of living with purpose and strength. Stay strong, stay stoic, and remember, your peace is your power. See you in the next video.